While 50 Cent is starting to drop some snippets about his upcoming documentary against Diddy, and going by the things that we're seeing from these few snippets, the documentary is going to be a hurricane storm. In the latest update, he dropped some behind-the-scenes information about Diddy and his secret battle against Wendy Williams, going as far as to claim that Diddy allegedly tried to unalive Wendy. But if that's not bad enough, 50 Cent also claims that Diddy tried to unalive Wendy because Wendy was the very first person to piece together his relationship with Cassie and realized that Cassie was Diddy's victim. Now, 50 Cent is coming after Diddy extra hard, but this latest revelation just might take the cake. So, let's break it down. Now, before we dive into 50 Cent's latest tea on Diddy, let me fill you in on the tea so you know how this wild feud even started between Wendy and Diddy. To be fair, Wendy does have a feud with half the celebs in the industry because, in her heyday, she was spilling tea and exposing them all. If there was one thing that we would know about these celebs, it's that they do not like to be exposed, especially when they're getting freaky. But Diddy's feud with Wendy was one of the messiest because Diddy was ready to go to all lengths to ruin Wendy. And we all know that Wendy is as stubborn as they come. Wendy held on to that grudge for quite some time, and if you ask 50, it all started because Diddy allegedly played dirty with Wendy, and it set her off. Wendy even claimed that Diddy allegedly put her safety at risk by sending people after her to jump her. This all happened in the early 90s when Diddy had just launched Bad Boy Records. The label took off with a hit because Diddy had some big wigs like Clive Davis backing him up. Meanwhile, Wendy was making moves over at Hot 97 radio station as a jockey. Now, you'd think that she'd be on friendly terms with Diddy, right? No, not a chance. Now, to be fair, they did get on well at first, but things seriously went left when Diddy started to go after Wendy for not saying good things about him on her show. Back then, Bad Boy Records was stacked with top-tier artists like Lil' Kim, Biggie Smalls, 112, and the girl group Total, just to name a few. Even though the label was still in its early days, it was already a big deal because Diddy had the street smarts necessary to run the game. As part of their PR stuff, Diddy decided to use Hot 97 as the perfect spot to promote his artists and get their hits on air. Of course, this was before social media and TikTok, where they could pay influencers to make the song viral. Back then, there wasn't any of that, and the radio was the major way for labels to put their artists onto mainstream media. So, when Wendy started throwing shade at Diddy and sharing her not-so-flattering opinions, things got very dramatic seriously. Yeah, Diddy wasn't exactly thrilled with Wendy's critiques, to say the least. If you know anything about Diddy from the allegations that we've seen in these many lawsuits that have been brought against him, you know that he has a bad habit of going after his ops. According to 50, that's how the feud started. Despite Bad Boy Records being successful, Diddy hated how Wendy spoke about him on the radio. Now, you'd think that Diddy would speak to Wendy privately and try to straighten things out. But again, we already know that Diddy is not the type of person to have a talk about anything like that, and as we've come to expect, diplomacy isn't really Diddy's thing when dealing with the ops. So instead of talking it out, 50 Cent claims that Diddy went for a more drastic approach. Allegedly, he arranged for Wendy to get jumped by his girl group, Total.
There was an incident a few months before that, and they just had put him outside and everything. About a month and a half before that. Yeah.
I remember I got off the air one day and them the Total were downstairs waiting, and everybody upstairs at the radio station is looking down, egging it on, waiting for something to go down. I wasn't yet married. My knight in shining armor screeched up in his car just out of nowhere. I didn't even know what was about to happen. Skell hiding like a girl. Thanks, Skell. I'm standing in the door like, what? And I'm literally about to go through. Now, I'm not like, what, let's fight, because I'm not one of those type of broads. And plus, there was 3 of them.
Hollywood is a wild place. I mean, one moment you're getting signed to a big label, and you think that your dreams are coming true. The next moment, your boss is forcing you to jump somebody because someone hurt his feelings with a few words. The absolute ghetto. And that wasn't even the first time that Diddy used one of his artists to do something other than music. Total was not the first group that Diddy forced to do his dirty work either, because he did the same thing to Shine, forcing Shine to take the fall for the 1999 club shooting. Diddy was facing serious jail time, but the next thing we knew, those charges magically disappeared into thin air. And Diddy walked away without a scratch while Shine went to prison for people. There have been allegations that Diddy set Shine up, and that Gene Deal and Diddy allegedly paid witnesses to testify against Shine during the trial. Why all Diddy, being the sneaky person he is, then dropped Shine and got him deported to Belize. Shine also confirmed that Diddy had betrayed him in a 2020 interview where he said, "Puff apologized, he did apologize to me for that. When we were in Paris he did say that he could have handled it better, but he was under a lot of pressure from the lawyers to throw me under the bus." One of the witnesses, Natanya Rubin, claimed that during the trial, she testified saying, "I saw Mr. Combs pull out a black gun with his right hand. It felt like a flaming hot sledgehammer had hit me in the face." She said, "I literally watched him pull out the gun. I had a clear point of view. I mean, for God's sake, I got hit in my nose. I was facing them directly. I watched everything occur and have described it vehemently to all parties involved. I have 9 fragments remaining in my face." Natanya also spoke about the event, revealing that she still has some bullet fragments in her body and suffers from traumatic brain disorder, as well as seizure disorder as a result of what Diddy allegedly did to her.
Because lead is toxic to your human body. But yet, for the last 24 years, I've had lead bullet fragments in my face. Just like Julius Jones, the other gentleman who got shot, he still has a bullet in his back. Like, people need to have some sort of respect and empathy, if nothing else. If nothing else. We didn't ask for this. We didn't do anything to deserve this. Like I said, I was an innocent bystander. What did I do to deserve this? And so, yes, the aftermath has been horrific because outside of all of the physical things, I would have seizures. Sometimes I could have 20 seizures a day. One day, my son, he's a grown man now, but when he was a teenager, he came home from school, all jolly, in a good mood, found me on the bed, stuck in a seizure, contorting, and my daughter, which was an infant, on the bed, trying to get the bottle in her mouth. Just laying there without no care. I had been in a seizure. I don't know how long that seizure took, but I was seizing terribly.
So yeah, Total got lucky because all Diddy asked them to do was just jump Wendy. It could have been way worse, and they could have gotten into even more trouble, but they were more than happy to try to jump Wendy on Diddy's orders. Luckily, Wendy and her then-boyfriend Kevin Hunter watched her back when Total tried to jump her. I mean, let's be real, Wendy had a sharp tongue, but a physical fight is not her thing, and she would have gotten pummeled. Now, you'd think that Wendy would have given up and stopped talking about Diddy because she almost got jumped, but you'd be very wrong. Wendy has been tough for years, she's a New Yorker, and she was not about to let a little close call like that shut her up. If anything, Wendy went into overdrive, bringing up the heat on Diddy and dishing out even more gossip as payback to him. She's been the queen of pettiness since day one, and Diddy learned that the hard way. This made Diddy even more furious, and he continued to pursue her. In the meantime, Wendy still didn't back down. If anything, she went all out, because only a couple of months after she almost got jumped again, she leaked a picture of Diddy's son, Justin Combs, with Diddy's biggest op and arch nemesis, Suge Knight. And this was petty as F. It was quite humiliating for Diddy. But if you think the beef between Diddy and Suge was intense now, you should have seen them back in the day during that epic East Coast and West Coast showdown. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Diddy and Suge had nothing but pure, unadulterated hatred for each other. But let's talk about Suge and Diddy for a minute so you know why Wendy crossed the line by leaking that picture. At the time, Diddy was knee-deep in a paternity drama with Misa Hilton because he was denying left and right that he was Justin's father, claiming that the kid wasn't his and accusing Misa of trying to pass off another man's baby as his. Now, while Diddy's out here throwing shade and denying paternity, there were rumors swirling about him putting his hands on Misa. According to Gene Deal, he wasn't exactly treating her with kid gloves. Let Gene tell it, he was being brutal toward her. It's absolutely wild to think that Diddy would even entertain the idea that Misa would pull a stunt like that, especially considering the alleged mistreatment that she endured from him just for talking to other guys. But hey, that's Diddy for you, always on high alert to protect his image no matter the cost, which is why he hated how Wendy started to speak about him in such a bad way. But anyway, when Wendy dropped that bombshell picture of his son with his biggest op, Suge Knight, it hit Diddy right where it hurt. But things then went from bad to worse when whispers started circulating that Wendy had an even juicier picture up her sleeve, showing Diddy in a compromising situation with another man, and this could have damaged Diddy's reputation. Now, back in those days, even a hint about a rapper's sexuality could spell doom for their career, and Diddy couldn't afford that kind of scandal, not with millions of dollars on the line. And if you're wondering how that happened, rumor has it that Diddy and his crew took off to some exotic beach or island paradise for a wild party with a bunch of ladies, the regular Diddy parties that we have been hearing about for a long time, and the shady stuff that goes down. But surprise, surprise, there was supposedly another man in the mix, and not just any man, if you catch my drift. There were rumors that it was Diddy's boy toy. It turns out Diddy wasn't exactly on the lookout for the ladies during that trip. His interest lay elsewhere. Word on the streets is that someone took a picture of him in a compromising situation with another man, getting his shorts pulled down by this boy toy. Now, this picture was like a ticking time bomb ready to blow up his whole reputation. According to 50 Cent, Wendy was going to leak that picture as revenge for Diddy trying to jump her. Well, Diddy went into full crisis mode, scrambling to shut Wendy down before she could leak that picture and ruin his life. According to 50 Cent, Diddy flexed some serious muscle to get Wendy fired from her job at Hot 97. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier that Diddy used the station to push his artists and their songs? Yeah, well, Gene Deal claimed that Diddy pulled some moves with the station, threatening to pull all his artists' songs from the rotation on Hot 97. But he didn't stop there, because he also threatened that none of his industry friends would ever use Hot 97 to promote their artists either. Diddy already had major clout in these circles back then, so when he said he'd do it, you better believe he could get it done.
Puff got one of the hottest DJs off of Hot 97 because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had power. For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled them down. When he grabbed his trunk to pull them down, some girls was taking pictures. They took that picture and emailed it back to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said she had him in a compromising position and like it was or something like that. And she was going to put it out. So they stopped her from putting it out.
And they got her fired from High 97 because of that.
Is it true that Diddy got her fired from the radio station? Did he have anything to do with that?
I think that he had, yes, I think he has. Well, let's be clear. Nobody got fired.
Okay.
He got suspended.
Okay.
Yeah. Did he use his influence and power with Steve Smith and him at the time? And God knows whatever his relationship was with the overall station, because Bad Boy was a powerhouse. We all know how Bad Boy dominated a large part of the 90s. And as far as New York, they was a powerhouse. So was he, King Joffrey Joe? Yeah. Did he go in there and shake him up and say, yo, I want this chick off? She's dissing my group and all kinds of shit. Yeah.
My thing about when you date a mogul is that it's really difficult to avoid them, because if you use your head, you never know when they're going to pop up on the scene. Like, he's mogul. Like, he can hire a plane right now, zoom it to South Africa, land on the roof of the hotel where she's staying, okay? Pay people off at the front desk, give me the key and let me up in her room. Like, I'm already paranoid as a person. But to know that somebody could actually swoop down on me in the middle of nothing would scare the bejesus out of me.
So well that it got back to the East that she was there in the office and that Suge was meeting Justin Combs and possibly holding him in his arms, and that there was a photographer taking a picture, and that wasn't the picture that we needed to see on our end or that we wanted the world to see at all. So I remember that day, it hit us like, a rocket launcher or something. It hit us hard. I remember getting off the phone. It was almost damn near half a day, maybe 2, 3 o'clock. maybe in the afternoon, Wendy Day was promoing, announcing something big was going to happen. Not Wendy Day, Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams, radio personality, TV personality, was announcing in her super highly rated afternoon show that might have been even syndicated then, that she had big news coming that involved Justin Dior Combs. Perked my ear up. I said, yo, what's going on? We started calling everybody. He was calling me. He got a heads up. He started calling the bosses at Hot 97. The street team was listening. They heard, the executives heard. We instantly all left the office, 19th Street, some in cars, some running all the way down to Hudson Street where Hot 97 was, to get down there just to handle the situation and make sure that that picture was not exposed to the masses and was not delivered through Wendy Williams. In all of that fricka-fracas, if you look back, history would tell you that she was let go from Hot 97 over that and had to go to another city to operate out of. And then she was able to come back and be the Wendy Williams that she is now today with all the success that she's had.
Crazy, man. So that's the reason why she got fired from Hot 97, because of that picture of Suge Knight and Misa.
They fired her. I think that situation led to her being fired.
What did I mean about the power Puff had? With the radio stations in New York, motherfuckers didn't breathe hard if Puff didn't want them to. If Tupac had anything salacious to say about Puff in that interview, and Angie Martinez told Puff or let Puff heard it, and he told them, you can't play it, they wasn't gonna play it. Puff got one of the hottest DJs off of Hot 97 because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had power.
Speaking of that, right, I'm happy you brought that up. Kirk Burrows, I did an interview with him some months ago, and he told a story about Wendy Williams. She got fired from Hot 97 because she had a picture of Puffy, and she was saying on air that she was going to reveal the picture. If you don't mind, because he told me the story, but he didn't go into detail. He never told me about what was in the picture. So if you don't mind, give me the story from your point of view, and what was in the picture?
We were in Cancun, and we were on our way to the Island of Women. You understand? For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled them down. When he grabbed his trunk to pull them down, some girls that was taking pictures. They took that picture and emailed it back to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said she had him in a compromising position and like it was gay porn or something like that. And she was going to put it out. So they stopped her from putting it out.
And they got her fired from Hot 97 because of that.
Well, I think that we were in California at the time, and Puff was shooting a layout for either Rolling Stones or Billboard. Right. He was shooting a layout for either Rolling Stone or Billboard when he had the white suit on. What happened was that Wendy had somehow shown people that email. You hear me? Puff told Hot 97 if they didn't get rid of her before he got back in New York, that they was not going to get any music from any of his friends, any of the record labels executives that was cool with him. Everybody was going to boycott their station. We was out in LA for about 3 days before we landed back in New York. She was fired.
Saying that Puffy fired at least one gunshot into the ceiling of the nightclub, which is like ridiculous. This whole thing happened back, of course, in December of '99. The comment came during the opening statements, and 3 people were injured during a shooting. Of course, Shine and Anthony Wolf Jones, the bodyguard, will also be standing trial. They're also saying that when the gunshots rang out, now whoever threw the, pulled the trigger, whatever, Puffy ran out of the club so fast and got into the waiting SUV that it wasn't until he got into the truck that he realized that he left Jennifer behind, along with his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf. He just ran. Well, eventually, Jennifer and Wolf made their way to the SUV without Puffy.
Right.
They ran 11 lights to elude the cops. Supposedly it was Puffy, although people are saying they saw a female hand tossing a gun out the window. And then when the cops stopped them, they found a second gun, of course, in the car.
Right.
All four of the occupants, the driver, the bodyguard, Puffy, and Jennifer, were handcuffed and taken down to the precinct. And eventually, Puffy and his bodyguard, Wolf, were overheard talking about their plot to bribe the driver to take the rap for the gun. And Puffy was overheard saying, and I quote, because the prosecutor said this, "I can't go to jail. I'm Puff Daddy." Hello?
Hi, Mr. Combs.
Oh, okay. Hi, Puffy.
Hey, what's up, girl?
How are you?
Just chilling, just watching this news, bugging out, man.
Yeah, I was just doing the story on you and Jay-Z in donating $1 million to the American Red Cross.
Yeah.
That's good work.
Yeah, it's just crazy just looking at it. It's definitely a sad time, and we were both on the phone talking.
Yeah.
Felt like if we could do something, we needed to really kind of do something now.
Yeah.
And that's what we decided to do. And it's crazy, so hopefully the money will help, and we're just praying right now. Our prayers are just that some help gets there right now. Hopefully, the government will stand up and do what they're supposed to do.
But I need you to let me know approximately when your CD is going to be coming out, and we're going to be doing this interview that you've been promising.
Yeah. Me and you are speaking on the air for the first time for a great cause, and we're going to do a interview with each other, something that people could understand how we have gotten our relationship back on track.
Right.
In the next couple of months, but I definitely, wanted to do this with you now. I think this is even for a better cause, better situation. Yeah. But then also after all of this is taken care of, and hopefully God turns things around in a positive way, you can get busy with our unfinished business.
Exactly, because you promised me a no holds bar, according to you.
Yeah, we're going to have it out. That's what you want. So we're going to do it so we can put it past us,
Yes. And, it's funny how tragedy just brings people together. Like, I like how you and Jay have joined together, and in our own little way, even like how you've called here and we're talking about this, and I'm showing restraint on my tongue, and I'm keeping it just where it is, because this is big. I'm glad that
we know that's a lot for you, Wendy, and we appreciate you.
Yes.
Keeping it focused on the people, and God will bless you for that. And I'll remember it. And when we get together, you can let it loose. I'm gonna let it loose back, though.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Well, look, if you stay on the phone for any more than 10 more seconds, then I'm about to change the tide.